All right, guys, so today I'm going to show you guys how I practice the guitar. But before I do that, shout out my boy Queenie for hooking me up with the GOAT shirt. And, don't at me, but Portugal's definitely going to win the World Cup, and Ronaldo's going to win the World Cup, and he's going to be officially the GOAT. Sorry, Messi fans, but it's just gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's written. It's written already. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Don't at me. You know when it happens. Don't blame me. I didn't. Also, you know what sucks? My videos look a lot cooler when I film at night, when I have the dark background. But right now it's the morning, and so I thought if I just put my curtains down, it would have the same effect. But the light still comes in somehow, and it doesn't look as cool, but I guess we gotta work with it. So, okay. So guys, I have been playing the guitar for 2 months now, and I've had no teachers. I've taken no lessons. All I have been doing is watching YouTube videos and playing the guitar. That is pretty much it. If you want to learn how to play the guitar, that's all you need. All you need is this thing right here. And as long as you have some kind of connection to the internet, you can learn anything you want on the internet. Doesn't even have to be guitar. Whatever you want to learn, you can learn it all on the internet for free, okay? Just remember that. I'm a perfect example of it. Now I want to get to specifically how I've been learning what I've been doing. So before I got my guitar, obviously I watched a little bit of music theory videos. I just wanted to get an understanding of like what notes were, what are chords, what are this and that. Anything specific I need to know. Tuning is like something you need to know when you're learning how to play the guitar. But once I got an understanding of it, I first learned a couple of one-string songs. I think Seven Nation Army was my first one. Seven Nation Army was the first song I learned, and I just practiced that. Then there's a couple of other ones. I think Freaks was another one that I learned. And then, so for about the first week, I was just playing one-string songs, okay? And I was trying to get the hang of it. I was trying to get used to the fretboard, using my left hand on the fretboard. And then I got into learning chord songs. I did some research on which songs are good for beginners to learn, like what are some easier chord songs. So most of the beginner chord songs, they just have the same kind of chords, but played differently. They're showing pattern or order. So they're usually like G, D, C, A minor, E minor. The main song I'm still trying to get good at is Knocking on Heaven's Door, for example. So the way I learned how to play Knocking on Heaven's Door was I went on YouTube and I typed how to play Knocking on Heaven's Door. And when I did that, it showed me a bunch of videos. So I looked at all these videos and I probably clicked on a couple of them. I watched a little bit. I looked at the person who was doing the video, and then I decided, do I like this person? If I did, I stayed and watched. If I didn't, I clicked on another one. And as I was doing that, I came across this one YouTuber called Marin Music Center. And his videos were super funny. And they were also long. So they were super funny and long. So he was, not only were his videos entertaining to watch, but he was also explaining in good detail how to play the songs. And it's not just like, oh, play this chord and do it like this. Blah, blah, blah. That's it. No, but like he actually goes into like some details, this and that. So shout out Marin Music Center, okay? Sometimes also, instead of watching the full length video, I also search up. Also, if I quickly want to learn how a song is played, I just search up the song on YouTube, and then I look at some shorts, and just to like quickly see like which chords and what's the strumming pattern, and let's just quickly play. But once I get a good understanding of how to play the song, or while I'm watching like a long form video on how to play the song, this is what I do. Okay, I pick up this guitar and I practice. I practice. I practice. Oh, and did I say that I practice? So, once you know how to play a song, the most important thing, did I mention this? I don't remember if I mentioned this. The most important thing is you have to practice over and 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 under and over and under and over and over and under, but over. But how do I specifically practice? What do I do? Do I just play? Do I do? First of all, when you're learning the song, you break it down into steps, okay? So for example, let's do a one string song. Let's take Seven Nation Army, right? So Seven Nation Army, I believe it starts like this. So Seven Nation Army starts on this, with this note. And then it goes. So when I first learned Seven Nation Army, I had to first practice this transition, this note change, you know? So it was like. Then once I feel like I got comfortable with this specific part, then I can move on to the next part. So the next part is. Then once I got good with this part, then there's a part after that. So it goes like. Is it this? Sorry, I messed up. Seven Nation Army is like this actually. So and then there's another variation of it where you do the slide down. So it's like. Sorry, I messed up. So then you have the slide. And then you got to make sure when you do the slide, you quickly come back up back to that note and play it. So with chord songs, the main thing that you have to practice, and like I still need to get good at this, is chord switches. Chord switches are very, 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 very hard. Now, some are obviously easier than others, but for example, knocking on heaven's door, okay? Boom. G chord. I have to transition to the D chord. From here, I have to go to A minor. So, like when I first learned how to play Knocking on Heaven's Door, I would first practice to transition from the G to the D chord. Now, when you do the transition to the D chord, instead of lifting all your fingers, what you can do is you can keep that ring finger on the same string because you don't have to move it for the D chord. So you boom, lift up everything, keep that ring finger there, bring this and bring that. And so sometimes when I'm learning songs, and even after a while, sometimes I do this as like a warm up when when I'm about to play a song. I'll just practice the chord switches. So I'll go like, and then Knocking on Heaven's Door also has a C chord, which is a little hard for me, but this is how it is. So I would have to go boom, boom, so A minor first, but then when you come back around, you have to do a C chord. And then sometimes if there's like, for example, I'm still trying to get better at the C chord transition. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just sit and I'll just practice the C chord without even playing anything. So I'll go from the D chord to boom, back to G, and then or I'll go D chord again, C, or I'll do E minor, C, and see how fast I can do it, and just practice it over and 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 over. So I would say the main thing when you're practicing the guitar is like you want to break the entire riff or the entire song down into steps, okay, that you can tackle individually. Then, so let's say like Knocking on Heaven's Door, I can break it down into 4 parts basically. It's the G chord, it's the D chord, it's the A minor, and then it's the G chord, D chord, and then it's the C chord. So the main things I'm still trying to improve on this song are my transitions from the D chord to the C chord, and then also from the C chord to the G chord. The D chord to the A minor also is, I'm still trying to improve on it a little, and then also the A minor to G chord, I'm also trying to improve. So any transition to the G chord, any transition to the C chord, or to the A minor chord, I'm trying to improve. So sometimes I'll just sit down and practice those transitions, boom, 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 and then I'll practice the entire song. And then if I still feel like I'm bad at it, I'll practice just that transition. And it's on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And then once you have put like 10,000 hours into this stuff, only then you'll be able to play the guitar. So yeah guys, that's it for the video today. This is how I practice the guitar right now. My goal with all this is to get a lot better at transitions. And once I feel like I'm decent at it, I definitely want to start adding in a little bit of more music theory. And also bar chords are something I need to tackle. Once I feel like I can play chords normally, I definitely want to add on more music theory and want to do more complicated stuff. I want to learn more finger picking style songs. Those are very cool, like arpeggios and stuff like that. But we'll see. One day we'll get there. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for watching. So, and if you have any tips on how I can improve my playing, feel free to leave in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.